Hello and welcome to Into the Light. I'm your host, Edina Mauvana. Today we have a fantastic guest, Jacquelynn Cotten. Jacquelynn is an intuitive spiritual business and life coach who helps people on their spiritual journey through life and business. Her mission is to help people achieve fulfillment, purpose, and mindfulness in their lives. Jacquelynn guides those who have experienced a spiritual awakening, who feel lost or misunderstood and want to explore their spirituality further. She also works with individuals who want to overcome adversity, self-sabotage, and fear of the unknown to elevate their minds, bodies, and spirits. Jacquelynn offers one-on-one coaching containers, Voxer coaching, and spiritual business retreats to help clients reach their spiritual goals.
For me here. I'm so excited.
This is awesome. I love talking to coaches and spiritual healers, spiritual inclined individuals of all types and varieties. And I'm excited to have you here. I know we connected a little bit on Facebook, and you also have a podcast as well. Is that right?
I do. It's really odd that we have so many similarities already because I didn't know. But yes, I have a podcast. It's called Just Women Talking Shit.
Just women talking. Oh my gosh. You were telling me that was your pandemic project, right? To kind of build connection and,
yes.
Communication with other humans during that time, right?
Yes, it was. It started as just kind of like a fluke. I was like, we'll just see where this goes. And now we're approaching episode 50.
Oh,
and
amazing.
So I know, I'm like, if I make it to the first 100, I feel I've succeeded.
Amazing.
So we're amping it up this year for sure.
Well, awesome. So yeah, I love that your work focuses on, building connections. Obviously, you're talking subjects and creating dialogue with people. And then, tell me a little bit about how you got into the coaching work, helping people on the spiritual side, because that's always really interesting to me. Like, how did someone decide to dedicate their life to spiritual work?
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey to get here. So I've been one of those people my entire life who, and I know a lot of your listeners are going to be like, oh, that's me too. But I've been the person who everybody comes to for advice. And whether it's like solicited or not, it's just like I've always been a magnet for that. And so I didn't know anything about coaching. The capacity of coaching that I knew was like a psychologist, a psychiatrist, therapy, something like that. And so I didn't think that I would ever be where I am or doing what I'm doing. I thought that, just having this passion for helping people was just something that I'm not going to get paid for. But then I was introduced to coaching, and I've always been really interested in business and marketing for well over a decade. So I thought that I would get into coaching for business and marketing, and I enjoyed it. I'm good at it. But there was still, at the end of the day, just like not that big sense of fulfillment. And it turns out that no matter what kind of coach you are, you're still a life coach at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah. It's like you're helping some area of life, right? So coaching is all about that. Amazing.
So, just all my clients, we've gotten extremely close, and I definitely have a connection with people that a lot of people I think are missing. And they can feel that. And so it turned out through the business and marketing coaching and the testimonies I was receiving was, I thought I was coming to you for marketing and business. And it turns out you've changed my life through the mindset and through spirituality. And I've worked with people who, are Christians too. And so it's been kind of touch and go. Like, what do I say? What do I not say? But it turns out that the thing we have in common is energy. And that's the only language that we have to speak to really be able to make those leaps that a lot of people are scared to make. And so anyway, long story short, I'm in Mississippi, and I grew up primarily in the Bible Belt until I moved in when I was 16 years old, and I moved to New York, out of all places. Culture shock out the butt.
I bet.
Such culture shock. And I didn't know much about, my mother is a very spiritual person. She calls herself the Mississippi hippie, which is to this day tickles me pink. I think it's so great. But when I got there, so things that she had talked to me about, I started to see, and I was like, so you're saying that there's more to it than like me going to church? And it expanded my mind. And so I've had so many spiritual awakenings since then. And I just had that feeling whenever I was coaching marketing and business, which again, I still coach people with their businesses because that's a huge part of life, whether you're in a career, whether you're the owner or you're the employee. So I coach
Right.
people through that because it's really hard.
Right.
Life in general is just really tough until you learn to navigate it. Right.
Yeah.
And so I just kept feeling the pull. I kept feeling the pull. And then I worked with a woman named Stephanie Stroud.
Okay.
Last year, I worked with her in her Psychic Activation Academy program. And
Okay.
I tapped into my gifts. Like, I didn't even know I had all these gifts. Like, I had an idea that I had them, but they just came to fruition. And then this year, I did it again. And I was like, oh, confirmation again that this
So
is where I'm supposed to be. And
yeah,
so,
are those are the spiritual awakenings that you're referring to, is like when you receive or you start to get in touch with those gifts? Is that what it is when you have a spiritual awakening experience?
spiritual awakening, this is the way I explain spiritual awakenings to my clients
Mhm.
because it's not just one particular like moment or anything like that. It wasn't me discovering my gifts
Okay.
necessarily. Spiritual awakenings for me have been like near death experiences,
Mm.
losing my daughter's father um, to something I feel could have been prevented.
Oh,
Those are really, really powerful life situations where it just shakes you up and makes you realize on a spiritual level that um, this is also precious. It's all so magnificently precious and we should not take it for granted. And that's a spiritual awakening for me. But it comes, I mean, it comes in so many forms. So, but to add on to what you're saying, those for me, um, I don't know, it was a spiritual awakening, I guess, now that we're sitting here talking about it. But it was more so like a confirmation for me, like, oh, you're badass. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Like, why else would I be able to do these things? How would I know these things? How would I help these people if it wasn't my calling? And
right.
so the series of spiritual awakenings that have led me up to the point of like really embracing my gifts and all that I can do. Um, it was just each one happened in such I would say a timeline and like ways I never could have predicted to
Uh-huh.
get me to that next spiritual awakening, which was really opening up all those gifts and gifts. I don't know if we need to touch base on that. I keep saying gifts. I don't want to throw that word around. Like everybody knows what I'm talking about, but
Like your intuitive abilities, psychic abilities, right? Those kinds of things. Like your tools in your psychic, your
yes,
gifted
yes, yes.
toolkit. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I love that. Yeah.
yep.
Well, so yeah, it sounds like you described the spiritual awakening when you have like certain traumas in life, right? That's what I've heard. This is kind of where our life traumas open up those opportunities for growth and enlightenment process. And it's like we have to experience these falls in order to pick up and go in the right direction, is kind of how I've heard it described. And yeah,
Mhm.
that's really interesting. So you've had these traumas, losses, grief points, and then you saw it as a process of basically then like things happen in a certain way where it was like divine, like from do you describe it as being like from God and you're affirming that there's this source energy, or is that what you basically decided to be true at those points?
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay.
It definitely all feels when you're in the thick of it, it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
When shit's hitting the fan, you're like, why is this happening to me?
Right.
Right. But because of all those spiritual awakenings and all of those, I call them life's lessons that I've learned
Yeah.
from, um, it does. Now, I'm not saying that bad things have to happen for good things to happen by
Yeah.
any means, but I definitely am at a point now where I can see that there was a bigger purpose I didn't see, and it
Right.
does definitely feel sometimes like a godsend to like if you choose to look at it that way. I mean, I could
Yeah.
definitely play victim forever, right? But I would say so. Yeah.
So it sounds like you're also helping your clients then when they're in these positions of hardship and struggle and bad things happening. And then is that what you do? Then you give them clarity and insightfulness on how to realign like how to see it and like how to turn it into a more positive mindset? Is that what you basically are doing when you see people in their life problems?
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely. And
amazing.
we do that in so many ways though. I mean, it's really hard to know when we say client, they've already made the decision that they want my help, right?
Hmm.
Getting to them to that point is definitely of free will. But once once we get there, it definitely it's definitely a lot of mindset work. It's a lot of shifting old beliefs to new beliefs. Like, we touched base before we started the recording about energetics and NLP,
Mm,
hypnotherapy, stuff like that.
amazing. Yeah.
So I teach people because I think this is where we go wrong. We put a label on everything we do as right or wrong, even down to
Mm,
the thoughts.
right.
And so what I found is I have to take people back. I don't care if you're 23, if you're 63, I have to take them back to understanding the brain, how it, like, what it's composed of, what fires off when this happens, how trauma is created, how memories are created. And we really dive deep into the science of the brain so that
Mm,
they can understand why it works the way it works and why you are responding the way you're responding. So yeah, it sounds great. And it sounds like, I mean, beautiful rainbows and unicorns to say we do some mindset work and we shift, but it's deeper than that because we have to go back and understand, why am I doing this? Why am I programmed this way?
I love
Um,
that. Yeah.
so we go back to the basics, like the stuff that nobody taught us, the stuff that
Right.
none of us really know. So we can't correct the behavior because we were never taught how.
Yeah, it's amazing because you're really providing, like, I like to think of it like a logical explanation that people need in order to do the things they do. And
Yeah.
it's like we have to understand where the programming came from, why it's there, how we constructed it, like in order to unprogram and realize like this is, the
Mhm.
problems it's creating. And you're right, like generationally, we all came from, I think, most people here like came from very traumatic experiences of one kind or
Yeah.
another. And like, so yeah, a lot of the process for me personally has also been like understanding generational trauma and
Yes.
healing through codependencies and things like that that are really like you said, start on the subconscious level. Like for me, my journey kind of started when I also worked with a hypnotherapist and I had to understand why my subconscious beliefs and were impacting my conscious thinking and all of
Mhm.
that, and it's like we can explain these things, people.
Yes.
This is
But
happening.
didn't it become easier for you going forward knowing that there's an actual explanation
Yeah,
and that you're not,
absolutely. Yes,
because it
absolutely.
it justifies all those crazy thoughts and voices in your head, like, oh shit, no, there's a scientific reasoning behind this.
And the
You know,
patterning, yeah, the patterning that you start to notice in your life, like there's a
yes.
reason for that. And yeah, and also it shows up in our personal relationships, right? So are you
Mhm.
are you dealing with clients who are like having, frictions with their partners, or they're having love problems and, all of
Yes.
those? Yeah, is that a big
Yep. Yep.
amazing.
The container we started yesterday, one woman is specifically, she's coming, like, she's going through a divorce.
Mm,
And I've been through a divorce myself, and I know it sucks.
yeah.
And so we're definitely struggling. Like, a lot of my clients come to me struggling with stuff like that. And it, like you were just saying, I mean, and like we were discussing beforehand, it's all about going back to the basics, because what a
Right.
lot of people do is they get out of one relationship and they hop into another. And so,
Hmm.
like, we go back and we do all this work around, well, why do you feel you need to be with somebody, and like date ourselves and really start, I would say, a new foundation. So, but yes, relationships are a big one. Money is a big one. How can I make more money? How can I be successful?
Yeah.
Um, all those,
Yeah. It's
typical
like,
things that we desire.
yeah, and it's like, my work is based off of a lot of the law of attraction, foundational understandings, like attracts like. And yeah, can you tell me a little bit? And then obviously I know before we've talked, it was like, I was talking about ascension and this ascension process and how that's related to the law of attraction. And yeah, so tell me in your own words, like how is your work aligned with like, yeah, attracting your ideal life? You know, you want to step into your best and highest self and have the money, the spouse, the car, you know, all the things, but we have to do this inner work, right? First, it's like the deep trauma healing. And so it's like being, you know, trauma informed, and then it leads us into this whole world. So, yeah, can you tell me a little bit about how you view the law of attraction or this ascension process with what you do?
Oh, dude, yes, absolutely. Yeah, I get so excited about stuff like this. I'm such a geek.
Yay.
Okay, so this is something I mean, talking about the laws of the universe. So I was introduced to the laws of the universe through, and I feel like a lot of people have probably been introduced this way, but through that movie, which was also a book, The Secret. So I
Yeah.
learned about the law of attraction, and it just fascinated me. And the whole time I watched that, I was like, shit, it's really starting to make sense why my life is shit. It's like
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
I'm ignoring the red flags. I definitely don't believe in myself. I put myself down a lot, all these things. And so I really was um I was creating this, I guess, like a guide of how other people should respond to me and treat me. And anyway, so it's interesting that you bring all this up because it's a huge part of my work. I was writing some stuff down the other day, and I'm in the process of PR. Like, I really want to get as much publicity as possible right now so that I can help more humans. And so
Yay.
I was writing my pitch, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't even realize how far I'd come until I wrote that down. And I was trying to write a headline, and I literally, I'm getting like, I'm starting to shake thinking about it, because I wrote down from homeless single mother, it makes me want to cry, to multi-passionate CEO. And it's
Yes.
like, we don't realize that the laws of the universe, whether you believe in them or not, I mean, just like, you know, you don't have to understand electricity, like Bill Proctor said, you don't have to understand electricity to use it to cook, but it's still happening. And so when I started discovering the laws of the universe, which was really just through personal development, reading books like from Mel Robbins, and getting into, you know, the whole, really, I was just focused on making money because I was a
Yeah.
single mom. And that's kind
Yeah.
of,
Survival mode. Yes.
yes. So I'm like, well, hold up. There's laws that can help me get
Your
money.
laws. Yes.
Let's do it. Right.
I love that.
So the more and more I read, I was like, I'm fascinated with this. And the way I help people is I have the life experience first off. I was a single mom. I was literally homeless. I was sleeping on a stranger's couch. My baby was in her pack and play in their art room. I didn't have a vehicle. I was oh God, this is embarrassing to admit. I'd recently joined It Works, and I had about $300 a month to my name, if that. And I just decided to like give it a go and see what this was all about. And once I really started studying this stuff and implementing it into my life,
Mhm.
which is the way I do this for my clients, is teach them, like we were talking about, how the brain is actually, how it exists and what it does and
Right.
why it does the things, and how it's really just trying to protect us when we're afraid and all these things. Having those the logical reasoning behind it, and then you know, pair it with the laws of the universe, and then I found out about energetics and embodiment. It changed everything. And so how I help people is teaching them that energy is currency.
Mm. I love
Energy,
that.
it is. Energy is currency, man. And we spend it in the wrong places. We waste it a lot. We give discounts on ourselves, and we say we want to do one thing, and then our actions don't align. And so how can we ascend if, you know, it's at the gold age example for me is I ever since I've had two babies, like my weight's here or there, you know, I love my body the way I am, but I can't sit around and bitch about, I really want to get rid of this mom muffin, and then like go sit on the couch eating Doritos watching Netflix, right? So I teach people through the reprogramming, or it's deprogramming. We got to
Yes.
figure out what in the hell is not serving us in the first place. Why are you thinking these things? Are these your beliefs? Are these your thoughts? Or are they just from
Yes.
your ancestors, right? And then we have to reprogram, and
Okay.
that really involves the energetics, but we have to understand what energy is and that we all have it and that literally everything around us is made up of energy. And the way I like to explain this to people is static electricity. You can't see it, but you know it's there. I get on the trampoline with my son and we're playing, and all of a sudden, like, we can feel the electricity, right?
Yes.
So that's like how I kind of introduce people to energetics. And once they realize that they have the ability to master their energy and embody that, oh my God, who's to say that you're not a millionaire already? If you were taking the actions, if you were embodying the actions, if you were taking the inspired actions, if you were pouring into yourself and surrounding yourself with the people that could make you millions or give you the opportunities, who's to say that shit doesn't happen overnight? So I really teach people that it's okay to get delirious, a little like delusional, because the quantum reality is there. Like, if you can think it, if you can imagine it, it exists and it's already yours. But you have to truly believe that and embody that and become the person that receives it.
Amazing.
Long answer.
Well, you broke it down, sister. You're like, this is the law of attraction. And let me give it to you. Like, that was like 2 minutes breakdown. I love it. Yeah. Well, that's great. So I mean, I don't even know. This is fantastic. I think that you are now offering your coaching services, and we got to get people to you who want to activate these laws of the universe in their life. I think you have a really great understanding of how to explain concepts around, like, we are energy. And it also sounds like you work with people who have, different God alignment, like they're Christian, me, I come from actually a Muslim background. So, like, I don't know, we didn't talk a lot about that, but yeah.
I would love to hear about that sometime.
Yeah, when we get on your podcast, girl, we'll cover it all.
Yay.
So, I like to think of it like, breaking it down to understanding source energy is from God. That is what we refer to. It's like, I talk a lot about you and people that I spend time with and learn from are like part of the spiritually aware community who are, there's just a lot of ways to understand the universe that are very relevant and like belief system agnostic, very important, and that and the work is done through what you were saying, which is identifying the programs, the beliefs, where they came from, whether they're yours or not, or like how they got in there, whether you want to keep it or leave it or chuck it out. Like, you get to decide these things during this process of, like, ascending and law of attraction activation. So I'm just agreeing with everything you said and thanking you for how you described it. Thank you.
Oh, it's so bizarre when you're passionate about something. Like, I don't even know what I said. I kind of blacked out, but I'm glad it came through.
Yeah, well, it's 11:11 on my clock, so there we go. Synchronicities.
It was 1:11 on mine. Whoop.
Oh my gosh. So here we are, Jacquelynn Cotten. I love this. I love this episode. I think this is great. I definitely got excited to hear about your work. And, any last thoughts before we wrap up, things you'd like to share with our audience, or, what you'd really like to get out there, if we get you a lot of listeners and people coming to follow you on social media.
Yes, but I'm going to walk inside because someone decided to mow their lawn.
Oh gosh. Okay. That's fine.
But I can catch you up right here. So I would say, in closing, as someone who has majorly struggled with self-image, believing in myself, really thinking that things are possible for me and that I'm worthy, as someone who couldn't, like, stand in front of class and present anything, to now I'm public speaking, writing books, and really changing lives. I just want to reiterate to your audience that, and it doesn't matter what walk of life, it doesn't matter where you are in business, it doesn't matter if you're poor or if you're wealthy. I give two shits about that. You are so incredibly worth the investment of time, energy, and resources to really just, have the most, I would say the most badass life possible, because you have one shot at this and you're not doing it wrong. You're just gathering information and figuring out, like, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And I just want to give you hope that if some little bodunk Southern girl like me that has been told several times is going nowhere can create my own way, that you can create your own way as well. And I would really suggest continuing to listen to podcasts like this and to delve deep into quantum physics, the laws of the universe, and just see where it takes you.
Amazing. That is the best advice. I love that. And you, like you said, we're on this mission. No one's failing. We're just learning and collecting information as we go. And yeah, now it's time to activate. You know, I like to think of it like we're on the brink of this greatest global consciousness awakening that humankind has ever seen. And, you know, I know those are bold statements and I kind of make them off the cuff in my little episodes and what I put out there. But man, talking to people like you, Jacquelynn, it makes me believe it's happening. The time is now. We are getting on the train, on the rocket ship to take off. So I love it. Thank you for your inspiration and all of your thoughts and your wonderful work that you do in this world. I'm so excited.
It has been an honor. Thank you for letting me share this, because you're right. I mean, the more of us that come together, we're breaking generational curses here, y'all. We're just doing it.
That's right.
Accept it. It's happening.
It's going down. Yeah, we're like you said, we're it's like I think of it like a mandatory mission we're on. It's like we have to do this work, or you know, we don't ascend, I guess, but you know, that's not even an option. We're all just doing it whether we like it or not, and it doesn't matter what belief system or culture or anything you come from. So yeah, that's awesome. Well, fantastic. And Jacquelynn, where can people find you best on the social media? Where do you like to have people reach out to you?
So I'm on Facebook. I actually have a free community.
Okay.
So if you type in spiritual support system, it's a free Facebook group. You can enter that. I'd love to have you there.
Yes.
Yes. We need spiritual support. Like I'm here to support you, but like we have a whole group of people who are probably going through something similar, or who have been there, who can, you know, you can build a strong connection with and feel safe. And I'm on Instagram at Spiritual Support System. It's a new account, but we're getting really, really niche down and focusing solely on that.
I love it.
And then, so it's Facebook, Instagram. On Instagram and Facebook, you'll see my website there. It's just a beacons. If you'll look for beacons, and those are all the ways you can work with me. And then what else? My podcast, Just Women Talking Shit.
Just Women Talking Shit. I love it. We're going to be doing that next week, hopefully. All right.
Yes. I'm so excited.
All right, Jacquelynn, thank you so much. We're going to wrap this up. And like I said, we'll have all your links linked to the bottom of my podcast episode and on my website, www.edinamovana.com. So thank you everyone for listening today. And we look forward to hopefully having you again in the future. Jacquelynn, thank you so much.
That sounds great. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.